Hey guys, welcome back. Orbomb here, bringing you our post-rotation Reshiram build. This is actually my buddy Steven's build. We're going to talk about how we both discussed how to build this deck and how he was very adamant about very specific choices. And I like the deck. I think the deck turned out pretty nice. And this is where you guys come in. I don't play Reshiram very often, but I know he plays Reshiram, and I'm a TCG dude, so I've seen plenty of Reshiram decks. I've played enough Reshiram to know how it works. So it's not like I'm completely inexperienced, you know what I mean? But that aside, I think this Reshiram deck is really good for post-rotation. You have the argument of, do you want to play Jirachi, Dedenne, like ability-based, or if you want to play the Welder greens-based build. I personally think the greens-based build is really strong. Like I said, you don't need to get turn 1 Welder to attack. If you can get turn 2 Welder, then you're in a good position as well, because it's still like manual attachment Welder, or as long as you get a turn 1 manual attachment. I guess that's the most important thing, right? And thanks to Volcanion, it kind of acts as a pseudo Kiawe as well. So yeah, before we get into the video, don't forget to answer the comment question today being, what is your favorite build of Reshiram post-rotation? Do you think you want to play the greens build, or do you guys think you want to play like the ability build that plays the Dennes and Jirachis and stuff like that? I think either or is pretty good. We're going to be probably testing the ability build as well in another video, so be on the lookout for that. If you guys want to see that, let me know, because it's probably going to be either last or we're not going to do it at all. But if you guys do want to see it, let me know. But yeah, let's go ahead and get right into the video. We are playing 3 Volcanion. This is where I disagree. I think we should be playing 4 because it's an amazing lead in this deck. If you go second, or even if you go first, Flare Starter, search your deck for Fire Energy and attach it to one of your Pokemon. If you go second on your first turn, instead of searching your deck for 3, you can search your deck for 3 Fire Energy cards, attach them to your Pokemon any way you like. So obviously, it's a great way to get that turn 1 setup. It's really strong. This is Steven's deck, by the way. I don't know if I said that yet. It's not my deck. I don't actually own any Reshiram, so. Whew, expensive. We also have High Heat Blast, which does do 110 damage. Definitely not bad for a non-GX attacker. He's playing 3. I think 4 is not bad because you want to lead with it a lot of the times. And even if you do not lead with it, it's still just a decent Pokemon to have down. And it's a non-ability based fire type attacker, so there's always that benefit as well. We're playing 3 of these, and we are playing 3 Reshiram. I think 3 Reshiram is fine to combine with this. 3 Reshiram. We all know Reshiram. I don't think I have to go too much into it. For those of you that are playing Pokemon for the first time, I guess I can show it on the board. Outrage, incredibly strong because we're in this weird 2-KO format, which means Outrage benefits from it. Being able to do 10 damage each damage counter on this Pokemon. Great attack. Flare Strike 230. You can't use Flare Strike next turn. And Double Blaze GX. You do see a lot of turn 1 Double Blaze nowadays. Unless you need to hit that 300 number, there's not really a reason to like load up for that 300 number. I have found that against Steven specifically, he loves using turn 1 Double Blaze to just take big knockouts on big threats. And then 2 cards we're playing, Snorlax. Now, I will say, I'm not too sure how I feel about Snorlax. I think Snorlax is still good if you're playing against water decks that you want to be very skeptical about, but the only scary water type Pokemon post-rotation is probably Keldeo. So you don't Oko Keldeo, you have the 2-KO it. There's not a lot of evolution-based Pokemon anymore in the format either, so I'm kind of skeptical about EV Snorlax. I think you play it as a 1-of instead of a 2-of, and maybe put in a 4th Volcanion. That would be my opinion, but it is decent. It does hit for pretty big numbers. Dump Truck just does do 120, and then if your Pokemon's an evolution Pokemon, you do another 120, which means 240 versus versus evolution Pokemon is really strong. You just don't see that many evolution Pokemon in the format. That's the big issue. Then you have Megaton Friends GX, probably really the best part about this card in my opinion, doing 210 damage, and if you have an extra energy attached to it, you may draw cards until you have 10 cards in your hand. It's a great way to reload, and reloading is always really nice. So this is probably the GX attack of choice a lot of the time if you don't need to get that turn 1 200 damage. So that's the Pokemon line. Let's go ahead and go over the supporters and stadiums. Now I will say we're not playing Big Oven in this deck, and I'll explain why as the video goes on. But Big Oven is another supporter another stadium you can play. Let's go over everything else first, right? 4 greens and 4 welders. That's it for supporters. Green to get you your welders pretty much, or any other cards. There's a lot of item cards in this deck that are really strong, which I will go over after this. But and also 1 Lieutenant Surge. That's your supporters, right? And a welder, of course, to attach your energies. We are playing 1 Heat Factory and 2 Power Plants. I'm choosing to play Power Plant over the Big Oven. If you guys don't know, Big Oven is discard 1 card from your hand, search 2 fire energies from your deck. So it's just upgraded Verbank for fire decks. But I'm choosing Power Plant because 1, Whimsicott is incredibly annoying post-rotation, and 2, Keldeo is a problem as well. So being able to stop Keldeo with your Power Plant is pretty nice. So those are my big reasons. There's other cards that have abilities, but most importantly are those cards. You also get to stop things like Zero Aura from Free Retreat. You get to stop things like, excuse me, Soul Valley for also Free Retreat. But let's go over the rest of the deck. The rest of the deck is pretty much items. And then there's Fire Energies, which we'll go over last, right? All right, so 4 Cherish Ball, 4 Great Potion. Great Potion, if you guys don't know, heals 50 damage from a GX Pokemon. You don't have Meltank anymore. Great Potion is a great card, no pun intended. It's so good for healing. Like being able to heal like 100 damage, 150 damage, 200 damage from a Pokemon is huge for your swing turns. Cherish Ball lets you search for any GX Pokemon in the deck. I guess I don't really have to. I guess I probably should explain some of these new cards. 4 Custom Catcher, our new way of gusting, our only way to gust, and a great card in this deck in general. Not only does it let you, if you play 2 of them at the same time, Lysander opponent, pretty much pull up a Pokemon from your opponent's bench, but also if you're in these weird reset stamp turns where you only have like 1 or 2 cards in your deck, Custom Catcher does let you draw until you have 3 cards in your hand as well. So it's got that nice effect of being able to bail you out of really tough situations while also letting you Guzma. Or I guess in this case, Lysander, or Gust, just Gust. We're gonna call it Gusting. Move these over here. We got 4 Pokegear. I will say, Steven is very adamant that he does not like Pokegear in the deck and he'd rather play Acrobike. Steven's a very lucky player, if you guys know Steven. He loves top decking because he's really good at it. So he likes Acrobike more than Pokegear. He hasn't landed it yet. Obviously, it's gonna be a hard time landing it late game because you only play 9 supporters, but early game, when you really need to get that turn 1 supporter, I think Pokegear is way more important than Acrobike. I don't think I would ever put in the Acrobikes over the Pokegear, but he's very adamant about it. So just giving you both perspectives here. I think Steven's a great player as well, so it's not like I'm not discrediting his decision. I'm just giving you guys both arguments. Now for some more fun cards. Tag Switch. It lets you take 2 energies from a tag team Pokemon and switch them to another Pokemon. This is a way for you to be able to maneuver between different Reshizards that are powered up. So obviously you can switch one Reshizard with another Reshizard, tag switch those energies onto the other Reshizard and start attacking with that one. So it's a way to be able to attack with fresh Reshizards without having to play Welders over and over and over again. So there we go. We are playing 2 Fiery Flints. I like Fiery Flint more than I like Big Oven because Fiery Flint lets you get 4 energies into your hand, which is kind of a big deal, I'm not gonna lie. Also, being able to thin 2 cards from your hand is not bad as well, but more importantly, being able to get 4 energies, meaning that you have multiple Welder turns in hand, you have multiple manual attachments in hand, that's just a little bit more important, especially early game when nobody's gonna reset stamp you turn 1, unless they're playing decks like what's it called, this Magius build where they just knock themselves out a bunch and then reset stamp you early. I mean, there's that, but that's only like what 1 or 2 builds, like the quad builds of like what's it called, Guardian Sylveon, excuse me, and like I guess Bosmosa. So usually I think Flint is just better in general. 2 switches. Ignore the escape board. It's supposed to be a switch. We just didn't have a second switch on us. And then 1 Fire Crystal and 1 Reset Stamp. You could play more Fire Crystals. We haven't really needed more, so we're just down to 1 right now. We play a lot of energies in this deck because, like I said, manual attaching every turn is very, very important. So we do play lots of energies, but Fire Crystal is an option. It's just not as good of an option early game because we don't have any more thinning, really. Our thinning now is Fire Flint, right? But without Ultra Ball or stuff like that, it's really hard to thin. But let's go over the energy count. 4, 8, 12, 15 energies, plenty of energies to make sure you have them every turn. But that's our Reshiram post-rotation build. This is a really good first start for the deck. I think this deck will this deck is very obviously going to stay good. Thanks to Cherish Ball and Great Potion, realistically, this deck doesn't lose too much. It's still going to stay very strong. You still get to take pretty big OHKOs. The only thing that this deck loses that is kind of big is ways to legitimately OHKO everything. Without Choice Band and without Kukui, you are going to whiff knockouts on things like Pikarom. But at the same time, those other decks lose those cards as well. So nothing's ever going to be able to OHKO you either. And since you have the higher damage output combined with Outrage, you're probably going to win most games when you play this. This is just still going to be an incredibly dominant force post-rotation. So if you have your Reshizards, keep them up. But that's going to be the video, guys. Don't forget to drop a like. I'm trying to think of like threats to this deck. Not GX decks could be a problem. It's just like if you're... It's really hard to be a problem. Like outside of decks that can abuse cards like Treasure, there's not a lot of non-GX decks that are good right now, because once again, when you're playing Fan Club, you're not drawing cards, and when you're playing a non-GX build, it's usually combo based, which means you want to be drawing cards. So not drawing cards every turn is really problematic, which is why I don't like the Fan Club builds. Malamar has something to it. I mean, sure, you're setting up slower, but at the same time, your Malamars are generally safe on the bench. And with spell tags, Girautinas are good. So you still have like psychic decks that might be an issue because you're not trading super well, but you have access to Great Potion, which can really give you a nice swing turn as well. Not to mention Outrage will put things in range. So you're not actually depending on using Welder every single turn either, thanks to Outrage. What else is there? I'm trying to think. Keldeo is a thing. If they can bump all your power plants, then, or if you prize too many power plants, that could be a huge threat to you, because you can hit them with with Volcanion, but that's not super great. Volcanion only does 110, so it's not even a 2. It's only a 2 at KO, and they can usually revenge you. But you do play three Volcanions in this deck list, so you can probably chain them enough to knock out maybe 1 or 2. Probably just 1 Keldeo. So maybe 4 Volcanions are there to knock out 2 Keldeo, and then your GX attack gets past the Keldeo. This is all just in case you prize your power plants. So you do play power plants for a reason. And Keldeo is really slow to set up because there's no more Aqua Patch, and playing Quagsire is impossible. Once again, you don't have a way to search for evolution pieces that aren't GXs, and playing Fan Club is really, really slow. So playing Quagsire is really, really difficult post-rotation. Playing water in general is difficult post-rotation. So you have that ability, you have access to that. What else do you got? I think that's it. Like, your matchups overall are pretty good. You still lose. You still have a tough time versus Blacephalon GX though, because that deck is super consistent and trades very favorably versus you. So Blacephalon is probably your biggest problem. Blacephalon GX, and yeah. I think that's it. Yeah, I don't have much else to say. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to drop a like, subscribe, share all that good jazz. Remember, booster box giveaway winning, as well as new set codes to those of you that answer the comment, to like leave a comment and drop a like. So don't forget to do that. 50 likes does mean next day upload. So don't forget to hit that like button, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.